Welcome to Cyber Mentoring Monday. Let me see, have I missed anything in chat? Is there a way to run auto recon outside of the auto recon directory? I'm working on that in terms of a module. It's not going well, but I mean, you can do this. Look, so we're in the auto recon directory, and if we cd out of it, right? So now we're in my home directory. We can do Python 3 auto recon, like, you know, like that. So you are telling it where to be. So yeah, and like I was saying, I eventually want to get to this point where you can run it like this. It's really difficult the way I've coded it. I've tried numerous ways of getting around it, and it's just kind of annoying. I just need to talk to someone who's made runnable modules before. So, but you can run it. So you know, if you were in temp, you could run. So I know it's in my home directory, right? So I can do Tiberius autorecon, autorecon.py, and run it from there. And it should work because all the how it works out where the plugins are and where the config files are is all done kind of, I wouldn't say relatively, it uses the location of the autorecon.py file to work it all out, unless you obviously specify it. So, yeah. Okay. Let me see. The TryHackMe attack box still running Python 3.6.9. You know what, I do chat to the TryHackMe guys. Let me ping them a message. I shall do that after. I'll send a message to Dark and maybe Skiddy and be like, yeah, can you upgrade to at least Python 3.7, because Asyncio was a Python 3.7 thing. Pain Sayajin, I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you for coming here at 3 a.m. That's crazy. Really appreciate it. And JBiz is here. Awesome. Subterminals at work doing work. It's alright. We won't tell anyone. Okay. So, what we are doing here today is what we do every week. Cyber Mentoring Monday is a thing from Twitter, I think. But effectively what we're doing is, this is a beginner-friendly stream. We're going to be doing easy boxes. We're going to be doing them slowly with explanations and everything. So we have some choices, and I guess what I'll start off with is, because yesterday, if you're on the stream, we were doing Koth, so King of the Hill on TryHackMe, and 2 users, I forget who they were, redeemed the switch from Burp to Zap. I usually use Burp Suite Pro because, you know, Burp Suite Pro is awesome. They asked me to switch to Zap, and I did, and then Zap just wouldn't behave. It was like it kept trying to redirect me to an HTTPS site that didn't exist. So I got around that. I didn't switch back to Burp. I just didn't use Zap. I just did everything from the command line, which sucked. But we got there. So I figured today what we'll do a Zap friendly stream. And by Zap friendly, I mean we're going to use Zap. I'm not friendly towards Zap, but I do have some help. I got OWASP Zap for Dummies here. It's a blog post I found. We got the documentation in case we get stuck. I have it loaded. I realized, I guess you can actually, it does have a browser built into it, so that's kind of cool. And one thing I do like about Zap is that I do like how it alerts you about these things. You know, this is kind of cool. And you can control it from within the browser. However, I hate this interface. I really do. Like, I don't really know why. I'm so used to burp having everything as a nice tab. That's labeled. Like, I have no idea what any of these do really. But I guess that's what we're gonna do. So I'm technically going to need probably some mentoring from chat on how to use that, because I have no idea. While you're chatting up Skiddy, maybe also slip in the auto recon to the attack box. I can ask. Maybe once it's a module properly and you can run it from like this. Maybe once you can run it like that, we'll do that. But yeah, I feel like that'd be a good idea. He probably won't do it, but don't give in to the Zap meme. Well, people spent 5,000 channel points each to get me to do 30 minutes of Zap, and I didn't really do 30 minutes of Zap. I did 30 minutes of trying to get Zap to work. So what we have is we'll do it today. But we have some choices. So last week we did, I think, Proving Grounds, right? Did we do 2 boxes or 1? I think we did 2. And the second one, if you were there last week, it was giving us trouble. It was this one, Lampieo. And the problem was, I'm going to have to solve some Rubik's Cubes in a minute. Okay. The problem was the exploit to get root was dirty cal, so a kernel exploit. And the one I tried to use just crashed the box. And I did actually that evening come back to it because I'm so annoyed that because I pretty much ended the stream. I was like I had to leave at that point, and we basically done it right. We knew if we got dirty cow to work, we would have got root. I tried it that evening and it crashed it again, and I tried a few others and it kept just crashing it, so I gave up. So if you've done Lampieo and you know which exploit you actually used, which exploit file, I'd be interested to know, because that was annoying. But let's get these Rubik's Cube solved out the way. I'm going to scramble. I'm going to look away so people don't think I'm cheating. I'm not just memorizing where I'm turning stuff, by the way. I don't have that good of a memory. Okay, I think everyone agrees that's pretty scrambled. So I will solve it. This is what you get on this channel. You get hacking content and the occasional Rubik's Cube solve. Oh, you can't see it properly? Hang on. Face cam. There you go. Alright. Hopefully that was alright. You get to see me do it properly. Okay, that's basically the bottom 2. Almost done, I think. Yeah. And there we go. What's my personal best time? I think I've done it in 50 seconds. I'm nowhere like near speed cubing, like which is like 3 seconds. I think is the record, the world record. Like, I don't do the technically like the speed running. Or speed solving algorithms. I have a very basic set that I've just practiced so often that I can do them quite fast. Alright, scrambled it again. There's really no trick to solving a Rubik's Cube. If you do the algorithms and just learn them, and obviously when to apply them, then it becomes really simple. and you can do it anywhere. It just looks impressive. And like pretty much all of this is muscle memory. Like once I get to a certain point, I could probably just like I'd have to be looking at it to figure out which algorithm I need to use, but once I've figured it out, I could probably do the moves with my eyes closed. But I'm not going to do that. But yeah, it's just a lot of muscle memory. And we are solved again. There we go. Okay, that's those two out of the way. So we have a choice. We can do Hack the Box, we can do Try Hack Me, or we can do Proving Grounds again. So what I'll do is I'll start a poll. And so which platform? Tell if I spelt platform correctly. So we got Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, and Proving Grounds. And we'll do a minute. Alright, polls up. Maybe we'll do maybe 2 platforms. So the first we'll do 1 box and then maybe we'll switch to another one. Is there a solve a Rubik's Cube with zap option? That's funny. Alright. Well, it's pretty close between Hack the Box and Proving Grounds. Who's going to win? Ooh, Hack the Box pulling ahead. Proving Grounds coming a bit back. Come on. I think it's going to be Hack the Box. It is by 1 vote. Okay. Labs. Machines. Okay. Difficulty easy. So we can't do cap because did we do cap on stream? I can't remember if we did cap on stream. Okay, we'll do these 4. I'll put another vote in. Which box? And we've got... Oh, but these are active machines. I can't do them. I completely forgot. I almost just got... That would have been funny. Okay. So... we have quite a few easy retired machines. Let's have a... Okay, so we've got safe, monitors, explore. Where's... Let me try searching for these. Safe. Okay, safe's there. Monitor. Monitor's not there. I guess monitor's maybe not retired, or it's maybe a medium. Explore. Explore's not there either. Frolic. Okay, that's there. Granny or Grandpa without Metasploit? I think I've done both of those. Or maybe not. We can try those without Metasploit. Alright, so let's put safe, Frolic, Granny, Grandpa. It's active on there? I feel like I've done active before. Yeah, I've got... Maybe I did it. Did I not get the system? Not sure. Alright. Tell you what, we'll do a poll. I'm just gonna write these down over here. So safe, frolic, granny, grandpa, active. All right, here we go. I think I can only do 5 options anyway. So we've got safe, frolic, granny, grandpa, and active. Let's wait for a minute. And if we do granny or grandpa, we'll do it without Metasploit, yeah. I'll try and do them all without Metasploit, to be honest. It's close between granny and active. So I apparently have done active before, at least the first part of it. I'm not sure if I even remember it. It's a 4.9 out of 5 though. That's pretty good. Looks like active's gonna win. So what we'll do is we'll boot this up. Spawn machine. Need to make sure. I need to download the VPN actually. Stop your active machine to change access. Oh, okay. Hang on. Because I think I was trying Forge before last weekend. Why not chainsaw? I can only do 5, and I think you posted after I had already added them to the list. Okay, so I'm gonna have to switch. US VIP, please. Download VPN. We'll save that. Okay, now we can spawn active. And then I can go to my VPN file, so I can go into HackTheBox. Okay, copy downloads lab. See, I have all this Aragog stuff in here. Magic. This is from ages ago. I'll remove all that. Okay. So open VPN lab. Oh, thank you. I wasn't doing anything serious. I was just deleting stuff. There we go. It's really difficult to remember to switch streams when you can see everything. This is why I like having chat right. You're right here. Like my screen is here, and you're literally just to the left of it. So, you know, unless I'm completely like involved with what's going on this screen, I have at least one eye on chat. All right, so did we boot it? We did. Okay. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna add. I have a little checklist actually that I wrote because for doing HackTheBox stuff. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna firstly we'll go back into auto recon, but we'll vim the hosts file. And what we'll do is here we'll put active.hackthebox in here because I've discovered that that's usually a step that you should probably do when doing HackTheBox and try hack me, is put the name .htb in your host file, and all that does is it means that now this domain will resolve as this IP address. And what we're going to do is we're going to scan it using the domain. So Python 3 auto recon pi. We'll do -vv. What else do we do? Let me just check my config file actually. T4's fine. Everything else is good. All right. and active.hackthebox. And what we'll also do is do global.domain equals active.hackthebox. All that does, so globals are like variables in auto recon that can be used by multiple plugins. That's why they're global. And so there's a domain variable which is used by DNS. It's also used by Active Directory, which I'm guessing by the name of this box, it's probably that. Let's see. I'm running it as sudo, so we have UDP as well. And right already we're receiving, oh my goodness, a ton of ports. Okay, I'm going to open Atom, which I believe I fixed yesterday. I just had to restart. So what we'll do is we'll add a new project to Atom, and we'll do home directory, hack the box, not hack the box, sorry, auto recon results, got active, scans. Okay, so everything's scanning away. Oh my goodness. So this box has a lot of stuff. Interesting. And yeah, we've got Active Directory, so we've got the ports 135, 445, 139, which is pretty indicative of Active Directory. I think 389 as well. And 88. Is 88 Kerberos? I don't deal with Windows that much. Port 88 Kerberos. Yeah, okay. I'm a web app guy. I've done the occasional internal. I'm actually getting more active in them, actually. At work I've requested to do a few, so. Okay, here we go. This is gonna spit out a bunch of errors because a lot of stuff is not what it says. Like all these ports are probably not going to be anything. They say they're going to run MSR RPC, but they probably aren't going to be actually used. But we see we have obviously domain or DNS on port 53, Kerberos on port 88, MSRPC on 135, NetBIOS SNN on 139, LDAP on 389. Microsoft DS domain services, I think that stands for, on 445, which is pretty common. So Recon will start running Enum for Linux because Enum for Linux works on all these ports. Unfortunately, you can't specify Enum for Linux against certain ports. It'll just run against them all. So that's why it's spitting out this error message. It's effectively saying that it's already running, so it's not going to run more than once. Okay. Let me go back to this then. So we have some scans. Oh dear. We've got DNS, the bind version, reverse lookup, did nothing. Zone transfer failed. Zone transfer with the host name failed. Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure 53 is a wash. However, we've discovered administrator using Kerberos. That's good. Okay, on the RPC port, we can enumerate a few things. Quite a lot, actually. So it's basically just saying, I think this is what's running on the box, which makes sense. Okay, we'll maybe come back to that later. 139. Enum for Linux. Did it find anything of value? Okay, so there's a few disks that aren't usually there. So shares, I mean. So you might be able to connect to those. And Everything else was nothing. Okay. Okay, I need to fix that because apparently NBT scan doesn't work on those, which makes sense. SMB client. Again, I need to fix, I guess. Okay. Authentication errors all the way. 389. Jeez. Okay. LDAP 445. Let's see. Probably nothing again. Kerberos. Nothing there. These are all okay. Oh, so this was actually a web server on 47,001. So that's interesting. These are all RPC. So I won't check those out until, unless we need to. But it's looking like maybe there's something interesting on this. It's not finding anything. I wonder if we can find out what version of Windows this is running. 6.1, which is Google Windows 6.1. I can't remember which version that is. Windows 7. Why are so many ports open? This is a domain controller, I believe, which would make sense. It's still running on everything, so the WinRM port, I think. Oh yeah, of course. That is 47,001. So this shows how much I don't use Windows. So there is an exploit for WinRM. Actually, no, hang on. There's a way of testing for WinRM, though, isn't there? You can do... hang on. There's an nmap script for WinRM detection. Why is Google being slow now? Have I got it proxied? No. You know where I know where it is? Actually on my auto recon. Because someone requested this. So this is a script, and if you go wsman, so what we'll do is we'll do that. So let me open up a new terminal. Active.HackTheBox. I can't do that. We'll copy that. We'll just do a curl HTTP. It was 47,001 wsman. Check what the return code is. 404. Yeah, I don't think that's running WinRM. What terminal are you using? This is ZSH, but it's running through tmux, which is why I can do fancy stuff like click between stuff, and select a copy is kind of cool. But I like ZSH over Bash, mostly because of the tab completion. Like for instance, documents and downloads both start with DO, but if you just do CD ME, for instance, oh hang on, is that not going to work? Wow. I was going to show you something cool, but I think it's... There was something... Okay, I haven't got it configured over here. I think I have it configured on my work laptop. But you can effectively, as long as you type something that's within one of these, it will resolve it. That's annoying that doesn't work. Yeah, the key button. So the way to learn Tmux is to force yourself to use it and have a tab in your browser that has all the cheats, and then you'll learn it easily enough. All right, let's check out some of the domain stuff. So I'm gonna open up, because again, I am not that good at Windows, because I only use Windows as my host machine on my PC, because it makes more sense. But if we go to github.com/Tiberius, we have a pen test cheat sheet which I wrote for the OCP. There's a Windows section. Active Directory, no. I can probably search it for SMB. SMB client in this repository. Yeah, here we go. So this has some useful commands. So we can use SMB client -L --name IP. So we'll we'll paste that in. So this is going to be --active. And the target, sorry, why did I say --, //. Copy. All right, we've got anonymous login. So now we can mount shares. So to connect to a share, you have to do this weird syntax. And so what's SMB client active, and then the share that we'll connect to, let's try the replication share first. -I anonymous login. Now we can do an ls. So active.HackTheBox is a directory because there's a D there. Okay. So I think this is, hang on, domain policies. Let me, domain controller policies SMB. I think there's a way of, yeah, group policy. Password. I think there's a password in here. Let me just CD into this one. And then in group policy. Maybe it's just group policy. Can I use tab? Yeah, okay. Okay, object name not found. Machine? I might be going on a complete wrong path. I seem to remember, I recall on the OCP, there's a, is it GP password? Chat, help me out here. There's a password somewhere. Domain controller. Password. I think it's G policy. Password. Is it in preferences? Groups. Is it in that? Okay. Let's get groups.xml. And then split that out. Did I just download it here? I did. That's probably not the best place for it. Yes, there it is. Okay. It was C password. So let's go in auto recon, results, active, GPP. That's the correct, yes. See, I was... I got there. All right, we're going to go loop. We're going to copy the group thing. So let's go into this groups XML thing again, and let me just drag this over. So this is a group, I think a group policy, and there's this C password, which is, I believe encrypted, but you can usually break it. So what we'll do, we'll cat groups.xml, and we'll select the password and shove it in here, and then we'll do cracking C password. Yeah, C password groups. There we go. Is there a way we can use John? Maybe exploiting this. So let's read a few of these. Oh, this is active. That's a write-up. We're not reading that. Okay, this looks useful. So let's see what this does. Okay, we'll download this and see. This is apparently a script which will crack it. Okay, Python 2. That's what it said. Non-module. Kali has an inbuilt tool. Do you know what the tool's name is? Because otherwise I have to install PyCrypto. Which I can do. Python 2 pip install PyCrypto. That did not work. If I sudo it, maybe? No. Alright. Okay, let's go back to the drawing board. Unless Pentester Guru can tell me which GLL, GPP decrypt. Okay, let's try a few things. GPP, whoa. GPP decrypt. Excellent, thank you. So let's give it this and see what happens. There we go. So we have a password. Okay. So does anyone not understand what we did there? If not, effectively what we did was we found that there were these SMB shares open. Sysvol is where this is usually found, but you usually can't get into Sysvol, or if you can, you can't access any of it. So replication is likely a backup or something, I'm guessing. Like if we tried to exit out of this, oops. Nope. Let's try and go into Sysvol. Okay. Yeah. Hang on. Is that? So that's not going to work, I guess. We can try the users directory as well. But effectively what we did, replication had some files which I noticed. Yeah, access denied. Okay. So when I got into the share here, there was an active.HackTheBox, which is the domain name of the machine. So it's the Active Directory domain. And then policies, And when the policies, there's the two policies there. I went to the first one. I went into machine, I think, and then the preferences groups.xml, which is, I think, how we got this. So now I think, I mean, we can try logging in as a user. We might not have a user though. We're probably not going to get admin on this. So we need to find out another user, I guess. So maybe let's go back in. Oops, what am I doing? Let's go back into replication. All right. I'm gonna swoosh this over there. I'm actually gonna copy this password and shove it up here into our notes. Let's go into scripts. What did I do in the right pane? In the right pane, I used this program gpp-decrypt. I passed it the password that we extracted from the group policy file, and it decrypts it. So the problem is this isn't a password hash. This is actually encrypted, and it's encrypted using a known key. So you can just decrypt it easily. And we have this password. Hey, Irasakai. Okay, there's nothing in the scripts directory. Let's go in this one. Betting there's nothing in there. Deleted. Installing. No, okay. So really the only place was policies. Let's go into the other policy actually. Machine. CD Microsoft. Yeah, so this one didn't have Windows NT. Okay, that, yeah, we couldn't go into that. Actually, there's got to be a way of going into Windows NT, right? I must be able to Microsoft. I imagine you have to put quotes around it. Yeah. Okay, secedit. And I guess we can get that. It's probably not going to be anything. Let's go back up and go into users now. There's nothing in users. All right. So in the other one, in the 3 one, there was also a user directory which had nothing in it. There's a machine directory, which is what we used actually, right? So could we cd into the group policy if I actually put it in quotes this time? Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Let's get that. That's probably not going to be anything, but let's copy gpe.ini and gpt into our loot directory, and we'll check them out. GP. So that didn't have anything useful in it. And GPT. Okay. Probably maybe useful for something. Someone was saying they saw a username in the other file, so the groups.xml. svg_tgs. Yeah, that might be it then. Oh no, username. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Okay, so we have a username, which might be a service account then. So I'll separate it with a dash. So let's try. We can't RDP to this box, can we? I don't think 3389 I think is RDP. I'm just going to double check that. RDP port. Yeah. Active.HackTheBox closed. Yeah, so we can't RDP into this. But what we can do is we can get back into here. We can try authenticating and running something. We can actually use Metasploit, I think, right? So I think Metasploit has a way of running things over SMB. Search SMB. That's annoying. Is it PS exec? Right, this one. So we'll use PS exec. Show options. I'm going to close this over here. So this is actually a really useful stream because I'm learning stuff as well. Or I should say I'm relearning stuff. Okay. Let's grab the IP again. Set our hosts, if I am actually the right one, set our hosts to this. We have some options we need to set. The R port is 445, that's fine. We need the domain, which is active.hackthebox. Sets SMB domain to active.hackthebox. Set the SMB user to this. And then set SMB pass to this. Okay. And we'll just check that that all got set. It did. We need to set the L host to ton. So L host to ton 0. Otherwise it's going to connect back on another thing. Let's try that. Okay. Status access denied. So that might not be the password. Let's try getting onto the box again. Let's try SMB client. So if we do, how do we do a user in SMB client? -u. Okay. So we'll do -u. SVG-TGS. And we need the domain actually. Do we need the domain? The work group, right. Is that gonna work? Okay, it worked. But, oh no, no work group available. Let me just try. Okay, we'll use crackmac exec, which I've never used before. Okay, so username, password, -u, -d domain, and then what else do we want? Let's just run it and see. So we can do -d, I think it was lowercase d. I've lost the domain now. Come on. Yeah, it's -d. Okay, so active.hackthebox. The username was svc_tgs. And the password was this. We probably actually need to give it a target, right? That would help. Okay, so I guess we need to tell it to do something. Spider share, maybe? Or just shares, -- shares. Okay. That worked. Good. Okay. Can we execute a command with -x? So can we do -x who am I? That didn't work, I guess. Enumerate the users directory. Okay. So spider the share, I guess. Let's see what we got. WinRM wasn't open. We spidered it, nothing happened. Interesting. The funny thing is I've done this box before, and I don't remember how I did it. There was a web server where it didn't have anything like that. So I don't think WinRM was open. Enumerate users, we can do. Oh no, enumerate -users. TGS, I believe. Is it related to Kerberos? Well, that's Kerberosting. Right, okay. Okay. I remember this now. Let's learn about Kerberosting again. Was there SSH? I don't think there was SSH. And that would be really bizarre on a Windows box. Let me double check. Yeah, I don't think so. Right, so Kerberost attacks, well, Kerberosting attacks Kerberos. I haven't done this since I did Active Directory course about 2 years ago. So we'll review it. This is going to be cool. To begin with, the attacker compromises the account of a domain user, which we've done. The user need not have elevated or administrative privileges, which is good because we're not. The attacker authenticates the domain. When the malicious user is authenticated, they receive a ticket-granted ticket from the Kerberos Key Distribution Center that is signed by the KRB TGT service account. Next, the malicious actor requests a service ticket for the service they wish to compromise. The domain controller will retrieve the permissions out of the Active Directory database and create a TGS ticket, encrypting it with the service's password. Okay. As a result, only the service and the domain controller are capable of decrypting the ticket. And then you basically crack the ticket encryption. So we're going to use Kerberos to grab a ticket, effectively, that's encrypted with a service's password, and then we're going to decrypt it using basically the same thing you use for cracking. So there is, I believe, There's a way of getting it. Kerber roasting tool. I think there's one for in packet, right? Yeah. Hackbook is hack tricks, right? This is amazing. This website, for any of you who don't know, this has so much good information on it. Kerber roasting. So we can use Metasploit. CME literally has everything built in. Okay. Let's use CME then. Kerber roasting. Okay. To perform this attack, do this. So I think we're on. Okay. We'll copy that. Yeah, the get SMP users.py I think is in packets, right? Okay. So what we'll do. Oh, that did not work. Okay. So we'll do active.hackthebox, the username, svc_tgs, and the password is here. Oh, might need to actually put cracked mapexzep in. There we go. Okay. So that's effectively what we did. That's the ticket. Is it for the administrator account? It's for SIPs, which is basically the file share. So what we can do is results, go to loot, and we'll do ticket. Do ticket.curb. Okay, now cracking a ticket. We can crack with hashcat. Oh, that's saved. It saves to output. Does it actually save it? Yeah, it's the same thing. Right, okay. So we can use hashcat on the ticket, and we'll give it a word list. Let's try rock you, which I'm gonna have to. This one didn't work. Skipping hash mode. Alright, okay. Forced to override. We'll try it. Let's try can we actually crack it with crack mapexz? Cracking Kerberos tickets, crack mapexz. So that gives it a Yeah, we can use it to extract it. I don't think we can use it to crack it though, right? Okay, did it crack it? Yes, it did. Ticketmaster 1968. Okay. And I believe that's for the administrator user, right? So now we should be able to use the S&D service with PS. Yeah, I was about to say PS exec. So there is a PS exec thing on, isn't it WinExe or something? I think WinExe can be used to get active.HackTheBox. So you use the Python one? All right. I guess we'll use the in packet. All right. So yay, in packet PS exec is installed like this. Okay, cool. Let me just double check. Okay. How do we do a username and password on this though? Is it just going to ask us for the password? Let's just try it, I guess. We'll password is in the target. Maybe I should actually read how to use. Ah, there we go. Yeah, that makes sense. Domain / username : password @ target name. Okay. So active.HackTheBox / administrator. And the password is Ticketmaster 1968 : not colon, @ There we go. We're running a system. Okay. So I'm guessing that one doesn't have a privilege escalation. So I mean, if we wanted to, we could get a reverse shell on this. Should we do that? Let's see if we got a Windows temp. Try without the who am I? Does it just give me a shell? Oh. See, I'm learning something. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I should have realized which directory I'm in, right? Can't do that in... Oh, I know which directory I'm in. Alright. Alright, so we're administrator on the desktop, I'm guessing. There's root.txt. So I'm guessing there isn't actually... Well, I guess svgds is the other one. So is users svc tgs desktop. Okay. Well, we got both of those. Are there any questions about what we did? And I want to say thank you very much to Penjester Guru and Subterminal and everyone else who was helping me along with that one. Like I say, I'm not a Windows guy. So that was good. That was fun. I've done a similar attack before on an Active Directory course I took. But that was mostly the exam was you already had a domain account, so it wasn't really getting one. I don't think there was any curb roasting on the exam either. Any questions at all? That was a fairly lengthy way to get root, I guess. And notice we didn't actually get we didn't get a shell as like a non-root user first, non-admin user. So that's a kind of interesting way for that box. I missed the part after you started reading about Kerberos. Okay. So the way Kerberos works is it issues ticket granting tickets. Oh, okay. So you know how. Yes, we Kerberosted. We Kerberosted the admin user. If I scroll up. Here we go. Right. So using our SDC_TGS account with the password, we Kerberosted using crack map exec on the LDAP service, and it spat out a ticket, a Kerberos ticket for the administrator account on active, and the service is CIFS. So I believe you cannot. I think this is a silver ticket because you can only use it against this service. I think it's not a ticket you can use against any service. I think. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. You can only use it against CIFS or SMB, which is what we did once we cracked it. Obviously, once you crack it, you can log in as the admin. But using this ticket, you could technically access CIFS. Cool. Okay. What's next? I'll stop the machine. So we can keep doing Hack the Box, or we can try another machine. Sorry, another thing. So maybe I'll do that again. I'll put a poll for the platform again. So do Hack the Box, try Hack Me, and PG Proving Grounds. Let's do a 2-minute poll this time. We can cancel all the recon. It was still it was futilely trying to directory bust 47,001. Let's I'm gonna remove all that actually. Let's save this though. Creds, there we go. Stapler. Proving Grounds is winning, that's nice. Difficulty. Stapler's intermediate. So unless people tell me it's like, does it have stuff that you would consider an easy box? because we're having beginners in chat, and I don't want to. What we just did with curb roasting and everything is like tricky enough if you've never seen it before. Like we can do some. I don't mind if it's a lengthy process, but it should at least be beginner friendly. I'm trying to keep these Monday streams beginner friendly. For other streams I do, we can totally do intermediate. We can try and do hard, as we've tried before. But yeah, Proving Grounds 1. So, can people suggest boxes? We can shove Stapler in if people want to see it. Suggest at least 5 boxes so we can vote. Well, I say at least 5. I guess we need at least 2. The max is 5. Yeah, we can do some warm-up boxes. SunsetDecoy. Okay, I'll write it down on a list. SunsetDecoy. Any others? Katana. Did we do Katana? I think we did Katana last week. Someone who was there last week, I'm pretty sure. I mean, it says last action 7 days ago. I'm pretty sure we did Katana last week. Seppuku. Okay. Yeah. Luckily, it tells us when the last action is. So, pretty much, last week we did Katana and Lampieo. That was it. And then a few weeks ago, I think I did Funbox. So we got SunsetDecoy and Seppuku Potato. Okay. Well, that's 3. Let's do a vote. Which box? SunsetDecoy, Seppuku, and Potato. Do a 2-minute poll again. I do love having access to a poll in Twitch now. We didn't get to use Zap for that. So there's a web app on one of these. We'll use Zap. Otherwise, we'll use Zap another time. I'm not gonna chicken out using Zap. SunsetDecoy is currently winning. It's winning by 3 votes. I should download the VPN again because I think I deleted it. I guess disconnect here. Internal error. Let me refresh. Please try again in a few minutes. This is going to be annoying if I have to use the other box. There we go. Okay, good. EG. All right, SunsetDecoy 1. Let's boot it up. Okay, SunsetDecoy. Awesome. Let's get out of this. Don't refresh PG while downloading a VPN. It will hang, give you a server error. Okay. It looked like it worked, so we're good. Thanks for the tip. Settings to get terminal tabs like this. This is Tmux. So, TLX plus Powerline. I'll share my config at some point. I just need to go through it and make sure I haven't left anything in there that shouldn't be in there. Is it running? Nope. Okay. We will... There we go. Alright, we've got an IP address. I don't think in Proving Grounds you need the domain. So we will just do recon.py -vv and that, and I'll just make sure we can actually ping it first. That might be helpful. Yeah, I'll give it a few seconds to boot up as well. Oh, a minute or so. I'm not sure how long these boxes take. Somebody just stole my music. Hang on a minute. I need to text. All right. Let's start off. What does AutoRecon do? AutoRecon is a script that automates your reconnaissance or your enumeration. Hooray, we got port 80, finally. What coffee am I drinking? I'm not actually drinking coffee. I'm drinking iced tea. But I do like coffee. And I recently bought a subscription. I think it's to Atlas Coffee. Yeah, the Atlas Coffee Club. So I will be, over the next year, be drinking a lot of different coffees from all over the world. I think Guatemala was this month. Is that script downloadable? It sure is. If you go to Git, actually, I've got a bot for a reason. If you go to that link, but I'll show you on the screen because this version here is the crap version. And if you, all you have to do is you have to click this master thing and go to the beta branch, and then you can read how to install the actual the beta, whatever. There's like, you just have to modify your git clone to use the branch. And this is the superior version, which I'm going to release as version 2.0 very soon. But you can see what it does. I've got it very verbose right now, but you can set the verbosity down a bit. But what it's doing right now, it's doing a top TCP port scan, all TCP port scan, just because you want you want the top TCP to return sooner. You don't want to have to wait an hour to scan a box. It does a top UDP port scan if you're running it as sudo, which I did not. So it found SSH, it found HTTP, and it's just going to run all this mess of stuff. So like it'll run an mmap against SSH using some scripts. It'll run directory buster against, like, it's running Ferox buster. This is just the script name. So yeah, but it runs a bunch of stuff. Hang on. All right, let's check out the results. So we're going to check out port 22. Port 22 is probably not ever going to be the actual way in. Like, it can be, for sure. But what you're probably going to do is you have to find a password somewhere else, probably on the web server. So let's check out this. There's no robots.txt. There's a bug which creates that, unfortunately. We have... Looks like there's... Interesting. A save.zip file. Let's check that out. We're going to take this IP. We're going to go to here as a save.zip. Saved link as. We're going to go back to the home directory, into the results, into our loot directory. Okay. Results 1 and 2. To loot. Unzip. Okay. So it has a password on it. Interesting. So we can probably crack the password. It looks like it's got all these files in it though. So if it has shadow file, that would be awesome. Because that's where all the passwords are. So we can crack zips. John crack zip. Yeah, you can use zip to John, right? Zip to John is on here. So if you run it, it's going to spit out this lovely thing here, which you can. I'm not sure if you need to. I think you can just copy this. Or maybe not. Let's copy this. And let me just Google zip to John. Okay, so you can just redirect it. So what we'll do is we'll do that. So we'll do zip to John into hash.txt. And then we'll cat hash.txt. There we go. That's what we need to do. And then we can just run John against the hash. Word list equals, again, I really need to memorize where RockU is. Is it? Did it do it? Hang on. I guess it's Manuel. So we can now unzip using Manuel. Yep. Okay. That was easy enough. And then if we check out like a password, so this is basically just the user file. This is not where the passwords are stored. The shadow file is where the passwords are stored. So I'm guessing we cannot crack this one, but we can certainly try. And how you want to do this, you want to select between the colons, right? So this the shadow file and the password file use colons as delimiters. So as long as we go all the way up to this period, let's do hashes 2, and we'll take this one as well. So this user, this weird looking user, this is the username. So we'll put this in there as well. And then we'll use John again. Hashes 2 word list equals user share word lists passwords rock you. And we'll see if that does anything, because otherwise it's not finding anything with Ferox Buster. The nmap scan found the save.zip as well. The hash and the password file? I don't think so. This is a username. There can be hashes in the password file. They're where this X would be. That's for backwards compatibility. Unix used to have passwords there. And it was always world readable. Did we find one? Do we find server as a password? Let me cancel that and do show. Yeah, we got server. Okay. We can show left. So this was the password to the server. It's the one beginning with ruck. So I'm guessing it's going to be the weird user. So let's go results loot. The cat hash.txt. The nope, sorry, cat hashes. Oh, so the ruck one was root. Not Etsy shadow, this one. Yeah, so the root user, I guess, is server potentially. It's not. So let's try it as the weird username. Okay. So that was weird. Oh, so it showed... Oh, I get it right. Yeah. I do not use John. Right, so it showed what was left. Yep. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know why this... I mean, this is the box name as well. Look. There's the app. Oh, goodness. Alright, let me kill that pain. So we have the user.txt, which, you know, we can see 32 bytes. We can try running sudo-l. There's no sudo command. Oh, we're in... Hang on. We're in rbash. How did I get the hash? So we found this save.zip file on the website, downloaded it, figured out it was encrypted, because when I tried to unzip it... Where? So you don't see it here, but there was it asked for a password, and I just pressed enter and it said incorrect password. We used zip2john to create the hash of the password, and then we cracked that, and that was manuel. And once we cracked that, we opened the zip. The zip had these files in it: etc password, etc shadow, groups, adoers, etc. But password is... Hang on. Password was useless, but it told us at least the username of the user. And the shadow file, which is usually obviously not readable on a Linux system, because it was in a zip file, we get permissions to read it anyway. And so these are the passwords. So there was this password up here, and there was this password here, and this is the one that we cracked. So that's how we got the, and then we just cracked the password again. So that password has. So there's two password hashes that we cracked. Honeypot.decoy. So let's try, let's firstly try and see if there's any really easy ways to root. So we'll try and find, we can't find, we're restricted, okay. So we're in rbash, we might have to do an escape, I guess. Okay. Wow. How do I get to follow along on my machine? You just have to sign up to Proving Grounds. It's in the free play thing, and then once you're in here, you can boot up SunsetDecoy. And then you can follow along. So we're in rbash. We have honeypot.decoy. Okay. Welcome to the Honeypot Administration Manager. Please select an option. Interesting. Leave a note. This is a very strange... Oh, okay. So... I doubt this runs as root. But we can probably get to a bash shell. Oops. Did I just get... Okay. So let's go to GTFO bins. So I realize I did that without showing why I was doing it. So if you go to GTFO bins, firstly, if you run honeypot.decoy and try and leave a note, this is obviously Vim. I say obviously because I use Vim, but it's just obvious, because you can do stuff like that, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to GTFO bins, and I'm betting if you quit out of this, and because we have the source code, I bet if we can we use grep vi in honeypot, jeez, grep vi and then honeypotdecoy.cpp. We can't find it, but how big is that? It's not that big. Let's cat it out. And I hate that tab complete is not working. Honeypot.decoy.cpp. Can't cat it. Great. I'm betting it's in there somewhere. Either way, Vim, to get a shell, you can use set shell. So we're going to use that and then just type shell. So we'll run honeypot decoy, we'll leave a note, we'll set shell as bin bash, and then we'll just type shell. And then we can just echo. Okay. So this is like I guess not really a secret, but the $0 is a special variable that tells you what you're running right now, or what you're running in. So back up here, when we first got it, I mean, I noticed it was rbash because it told us it was rbash. Rbash is basically restricted bash, but you'll see here I echoed $0 and it told me it was rbash. And now when I echo it, we actually have bin bash. We still don't have access to sudo, I'm guessing. Can we actually cat stuff? Honeypotdecoy.cpp. And that might just be a path issue. Yeah, okay. We can probably ls. Right. So we're going to have to figure out our path, because I'm betting if we actually echo our path, yeah, our path is literally just everything in the home directory, whereas if I echo path on my box, you'll see it has a ton of stuff. So what we'll do is we'll copy all of this up to there, and we'll export path equals path $, and that. And then if I echo path, and hopefully now we can use which. Yeah. All right, so now I can actually exit that one. Now we can actually run stuff. The password, we actually have his password, right? I'm forgetting what it was. I should really have taken notes. It was server. Okay, sorry, the user may not run sudo. That's okay. I'm gonna make a note that the password is server. Yep. So now we can run our find command. I can try and do that, yeah. So let me see. What did I did this one. Oops, that's not pasting because I need to actually hang on. So that's the one I did to get the path. What was the other one? There weren't really any others. I just ran honeypot.decoy. You can always watch this stream after as well. The John password. The John, yeah. So I mean, this is a really basic John command. Yeah, I could use Control R, but I felt like it wasn't that far off. Okay, is there anything in here that looks interesting? SH key sign, I don't think... I think we found that one last week. No, key scan. So it doesn't look like there's anything there. We can, however... You can check out some directories. Maybe there's anything in temp. No. What we can do is start up a server. Actually, I already have a server running. If I cd into privesc, we have a load of scripts we can grab. So I'm assuming wget's available. Good. Let's cd into temp, and what we'll do is we'll wget privesc. Let's try lse.sh. We'll chmod it. Yeah, run it in interactive mode with level 1. Okay. I'll copy that one as well. I can just type that one. It didn't recognize. Okay, yeah, it's not letting me paste it because it's technically a slash in there. Okay, the lsc.sh is like a bit like limpys. It's an enumerator for Linux to try and figure out any different privilege escalations. I don't prefer it. I'm just going to run it this time because I used limpys last time. We might run limpys as well. But these are all pretty common. So there's no uncommon set binaries. Let's scroll all the way down. Great. Yeah, limpys, they fixed the OSCP thing. That was good. Okay, is there anything in cron tab? No. This is an easy box, so I'm assuming it's gonna be relatively easy. This is all the commands that are being run on the server. Let's grab limpys as well then. Yeah, you can use the latest version of limpys. Using quiet mode, pipe it through more. All right. We've got a sudo version 1.8.27. I wonder if this is vulnerable to the sudo exploit. Put 8.27. Looks like it. You can try that. I don't know why it's highlighting this. Oh, because I exported the path, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Let's SSH again using server, and then honeypot.decoy, leave a note. That's fine. Set shell equal bin bash shell. Okay, we'll bash again. Oh, I need to set my path. I can just do which sudo though to find out. So I'm on my, this is my own box over here. User bin sudo. So user bin and then paste. Unknown user. Maybe they patched it. There was another one for sudo edit. Did I enumerate the home directory already? I did not. I mean, now we can bin cat honeypot.decoy.cpp. Permission denied. Can't read. Why can't we read that? Oh, I see. Right. Did I? Is there something hidden? Bash history is piped to dev null. There's a dot profile. Well, I need to figure out where cat is. User bin cat now. User bin cat dot profile. No. Unless it's, is it the honeypot.decoy again? Use a bin sudo edit. Let's just, let's just try this. Bin sudo edit. Yeah. I'm guessing they... No. Let's keep going with this. Unless subterminal has another idea. Oh, because you're right. Yeah, because I didn't. Good spot. I was. It's really annoying when you don't have a path. Yeah, that doesn't. Unable to resolve host now. That was before. That was okay. Is this one you just have to run? I was gonna get that. Linpeas actually does run that, so. There we go. Nope. That's a commented thing. Yeah, Linpeas does actually do something very similar to pspy. Which... hoping it runs. Otherwise, we'll just download PSpy onto the box. Yeah, okay, we'll download PSpy. We'll check which version this is. This is a 64-bit system. So we can wget PSpy. I'm gonna double check again. PSpy 64. That should be fine. All right. Sorry. So what PSpy does is it watches for processes, and if you, it'll report what's running. So anything that gets run like on the regular. So it's really useful for finding root-owned cron jobs. Okay, there we go. See, there's a script being run by the root user in the root directory. So let's see. I'm gonna use this terminal. I'm gonna actually echo my path out again on my actual box, and we'll go with all of this. And now we'll export path equals $path : and now we should have access to everything again. So we should be able to like cat stuff, right? Cats user.txt, for instance. Yeah. Okay. So can we actually look inside root? No. We can't just cat the root scripts.sh. That would be too easy. So we got to try and look at what it does. It just seems to run it every minute, but it doesn't actually say what it does. That's weird. Yeah, but you'd usually see the actual command that it runs because it's running as bash. Like the bash script should do something, so it should be running commands. This is an interesting box. I'm glad we did this one. Is it? Let me just cat. Yeah, that's not good. I guess, can we run strings on honeypot? So strings does what it, you might think. So it runs. It extracts strings from a binary. What I'm looking for is whether it executes anything using, like, as instead of running user bin date, whether it just executes date, for instance. What permissions does honeypot have? I think it runs as your user though, so it doesn't have set UID. Because we got a shell from Vim as this user, we know that. So I'm kind of miffed why we're not seeing more. Is there an option? Yeah, we can run it again. Let's watch that as well, I guess. And print file system events. The file system events might give us something interesting. I'm hoping. Can I run the decoy binary again? Yeah. Honeypot.decoy. Check all services, maybe. But I think... How did it figure out services? Yeah, just on Apache status. Okay, what's it doing? Yeah, I don't see... Decoy binary is using the PS command. Did you spot that? I don't see it using the PS command. Where do you see that? We could just create. Oops. ID into temp/id.txt. So like for that, I don't think that runs. FTSec, FTSec, what do you think runs PS? I'm going to cancel that one. Yeah. We're missing something obvious. This is why privilege escalation is a pain. This is proving grounds, yeah. This is supposed to be an easy box, so we're definitely missing something super obvious. I mean, I wonder if we just have to cap the local.txt. I didn't try that. I mean, that's the, yeah, that's the flag, right? This is SunsetDecoy. We could try like shutdown. Right? Let's try playing with this. Right, shutdown's not privileged enough. I'm really annoyed that this doesn't Let's try launching an AV scan. Ah, okay. The AV scan will be launched in a minute or less. Let's look out for that. Hey, Goio. Alright. What's root doing? Goodness me. I probably... Alright, I'm gonna cancel that. I'm gonna run it without -F. Did you see this in the PSPY? Did I see what? The AV scan? If I launch AV scan, so it touches right. Okay. So this is what root's doing when we request an AV scan. All right. Yeah, check rootkit. I don't think there is, but we can certainly actually Google. Okay. Was that one of the... Let's see, it's running at 0.49. Okay. There we go, we found it. All right. Okay. Put an executable file named update with the non-root owner in /temp. The file temp update will be executed as root. Okay. So I think we've found it, guys. So what we'll do, we'll make a bash script. Do you know an easy way of making a permanent way to get root using bash that doesn't involve just a reverse shell? Anyone know? People who've taken my courses will know. Let me give you a clue. I'm going to create root bash. Okay. So let's cancel this. CD back into our home directory, run honeypot decoy, and launch an AV scan. Nope. Once this fires, once we see a lot of, there we go, hopefully, I didn't create anything yet. Oh, I didn't make it executable. That might have to be done. Yep. Okay. Alright, so let's try it again. So cd honeypot decoy, launch an AV scan, back into our our temp directory. This is an interesting way to root. I'm glad we checked out the honeypot again. Go on, root. Okay. It's not. Ah, there we go. It did run it. Hey! Look at that file. Look how red it is. Alright, and now we can run root bash with a -p. And even though we're technically still running as this user, we're also running as root. Our effective UID is root. So we can go into that. There we go. So let's go over that again. Because so does everyone understand how we escaped out of our bash first? Is there anyone who didn't understand that? Or is there anyone who needs me to go over anything again? Because I realized that was a lot of kind of just stumbling around in the dark until we discovered that way. Yeah, we can do it again. All right, so I'll exit out of my shell. I'll exit out of this. Okay. I can't even clear the terminal. All right, I'm gonna exit. We're gonna SSH again. So we got the username. We got the password. I got time. We got the password. We SSH'd, and immediately I saw our bash here. So we're in a restricted bash shell, which means we can only run certain commands. Like we can't, for instance, we cannot cat stuff, right? I can't even tab complete. That's how awful it is. Honeypot.decoy. Cat command not found, right? And the reason for that is my path is literally just the home directory. So I wonder actually, could I have... And for those who don't know what the path is, so the path is how Linux finds binaries. If you only have home in your path, it means the only things you'll be able to run are things in here. So you can run ls, make directory, ifconfig, and id. All right. Usually a path looks kind of like this. This is my local box server here. I realize I'm in the way of it a little bit, but I mean, it's just a big long list, right? Of directories separated by colons. And so what I did was I was like, okay, well, I know we need at least user local sbin all the way down to, screw it, we'll put the games in as well, right? I'm wondering if we can actually do this. Yeah, okay, so our bash sets path as a read-only variable, which makes sense. That wouldn't be a very good way of getting of having a restricted terminal if you could actually break out the restriction that easily. So we need to find a way of breaking out. Obviously, id, ifconfig, ls, and make directory aren't very useful for that. Okay, honeypot.decoy though was. So this has various things. It can print out the date. It can print out a calendar. All right, and if you run strings against that, which we can't do because we're not. I forgot about that. So basically, you have to go through all this. If we try shut down, we don't have enough privileges. If we try reboot, we don't have enough privileges. Launching an AV scan, we'll later learn was the way to root, but we'll ignore it for now. If you check password, you can cat the password file, but the password file doesn't have anything useful in it. It's just a list of usernames. The lever note, though, launched us into this, which is Vim. Alright, technically it's VI. I think if you do help, yeah. If you do :help, it'll tell you you're in Vim, right? Okay. So we'll quit out of that. From Vim, since we know we're in Vim, we can go to GTFO bins. Literally, you can just type GTFO bins. It's the first link in Google. This is a huge list of binaries that you can use to either break out of stuff or execute things as root. If we go to Vim, we just want a shell, right? That's all we need. We need a shell. So we're going to click on shell. And it tells us, okay, let me zoom in. It tells us, okay, there's really 4 ways of doing it. If you can run Vim, you can pass it this -C option. We can't run Vim. Vim's being run for us. So this second option is the only thing we have. From within Vim, we can set this shell variable equal to bin sh. I used bin bash, same thing. And then we can execute it. And that's what we did. So we can set shell equal to bin bash, and then we can execute shell. And it looks like we're just dropped back into this, but if we echo $0, we can see that instead of being rbash, where was it? So here I echoed $0 and we got -rbash back. Now we're actually bash. But we still have the problem that our path sucks. So at this point, we can actually copy the path from over here, which chat's now blocking. So we'll copy that. I think you can do that, actually. Let's try it. Yeah. I guess they like the setting of the setting of the shell there. So yeah, Goyo was right. You can just do !/bin bash to get out. There's 2 ways of doing it. So just to overwrite your path, you need to export, and you set the path without the $sign equal. You can set it to itself with a colon. And then the massive list of directories where all the executable files are in Linux, right? If there's an executable file in a Linux distribution, by default, it's going to be in one of these directories, basically. And so once we've done that, we can double check and make sure, yep, path was actually written to. And now, we could only execute these, but now we can execute stuff like, we can execute cat, for instance, which we couldn't do before. Okay. And if we do which cat, it tells us, well, cat's in /user/bin /cat. Okay. Then we tried lsc.sh, we tried linpiece.sh. Neither of those gave us anything. So we downloaded this pspy executable, pspy64, because if we do uname-a, we're running on a 64-bit system. Okay, and so what we did was we ran pspy64, which what it does is it listens for processes that are being run by any user, even the root user. So this is a really useful tool for finding cron jobs that are root owned that you can't ordinarily see in a cron tab. And we noticed nothing really happened. I think every minute root executed a script, which, you know, we couldn't access that script, so we didn't know what it did. So we gave up on that, and we went back into our home directory, and we tried eventually the launch AV scan. And if I run pspy again, and select option 5 to launch the AV scan. It says the AV scan will be launched in a minute or less. And since that script was running every minute, that's probably what is checking to do the AV scan, right? And so all we have to do is wait. Wait for that script to fire. and we can see what happens. So we'll wait again. Hope it's going to do it. Maybe we crashed it. Nope, there it goes. Okay, so if I scroll up in this horrible mess of things, you'll see that at 7:20:01 seconds in, the cron job fired. The cron job ran this bash script in the root directory, which again we couldn't read. We saw this before, but clearly what's in this bash script, when it detects that we've asked for a AV scan, it runs cherootkit-0.49, so the version number. So eventually we had the idea of Googling the version number, or cherootkit privesc, which literally the first result on Google was that version number. And it told us all we need to do is put an executable file named update with a non-root user in /temp, and then you run cherootkit and it will execute. So what we did was we created update in /temp, and all I did was I put a bash script which copies the bash binary to the temp directory as root bash. It then makes it executable, just make sure it didn't lose that execute permission when being copied. And it also makes it SUID. And because this is going to be owned by root, because this file is being executed as root, it's going to be a root SUID. Right? And then effectively all we did was we asked for launch an AV scan again, right? And it ran update. It copied bin bash to root bash. You see it's owned by root here. It has the SUID bit set. And if we actually go back to GTFO bins and type bash in here, and we say we can run an SUID, this is what you need to do. You just need to run the bash binary with -p. -p effectively preserves. So what happens if you run root bash without -p? We're just our user again. Even though it's SUID, bash has a check that if it's an SUID file, it's going to downgrade you back to your regular user. However, bash has this -p, which effectively preserves those privileges. So you can, it doesn't stand for preserve privileges, but I always like to think of it that way. So if you ever run an SUID version of bash, remember -p for preserve privileges, right? And if you do that, you'll notice like an obvious way to check is this $sign versus this hash symbol. The hash symbol means you're root effectively. You can run whoami and get root. You can run ID. When you're running as an SUID file, you're still going to have a UID of 1000, right? But your effective UID, and that's the only one that matters, all right? Your UID is pretty useless for permission checks. The Linux uses the EUID, the effective user ID, for pretty much all permissions checks. And we've managed to set ours to root by having that as an SUID file. Okay? Hopefully that made sense. Was there any other questions before we call it a night? Because this was a great stream. We did 2 interesting boxes. And yeah, hopefully people learn stuff. I certainly learned some more stuff about Kerberos and Kerberosting, which again I'm not an internal pen tester, so I don't do that much network stuff. And obviously OSCP doesn't. When I did OSCP, it didn't have Active Directory. Awesome. I hope I didn't miss any other rewards. I didn't. Again, we didn't get to use Zap, so we'll save Zap for another I think there's an Active Directory part of OSCP now. It's not in the exam. It's in the course though, right? I'm pretty sure they have that now. But yeah, if you're doing Linux Privask on a box, really, these three tools are pretty good. LinPs, LSE. LinPs and LSE effectively do the same thing. They just do it a little differently. They both have different checks as well, so it's always better to run both. Obviously, you can redirect their output into a text file, which is great. But pspy is something that you really should run if you don't see anything else, because there's probably a process that's running as a cron job that you just can't see. Yeah, it's not an exam. It doesn't mean nothing. It's useful to know because if you're gonna do pen testing, you're probably gonna, if you're just starting out in pen testing, you're gonna be thrown in to Pentest Active Directory networks. That's what I did when I first started, but I haven't done it in like years, like properly. I've been on a few internals recently, but I haven't properly done anything in like 7 years maybe. Well, is there anything else that you want to go over before we end the stream? Any other questions about what we've done? I'm going to check out and see if there's anyone streaming. Anyone I follow streaming? There's nobody. That's a shame. Is anyone planning to stream? I would raid someone, but I don't. Does anyone have anyone that they know that's streaming that we should just raid? I haven't done a raid in a while. Could I share? Yeah, I'm gonna upload my configs to my GitHub at some point. I just need to double check they don't have anything in there that's specific to like me. The InfoSec streams. Can you give me usernames? iWang. Okay, who's iWang? He's hacking try-hack me. Alright, let's do him. Oh, there's an InfoSec streams. Hey, I'm on there. That's cool. I didn't even realize I was there. Alright, raid iWang. Yep. Alright. We're getting ready to raid. Thanks so much, everyone. I'm going to flash up the stream ending just for the YouTube video. So obviously there's my socials. Follow me on Twitter, join my Discord server, watch my YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel, I guess. And follow me on Twitch.